Morning light filters through the Venetian blinds of my parents' living room, casting tiger stripes across the cream-colored sofa where I've perched uncomfortably for the past 20 minutes. The air smells of my mother's vanilla candles and something else, anticipation, thick and cloying. I adjust the portfolio on my lap, feeling the weight of 10 years' work bound in Italian leather. My father sits across from me in his recliner, reading glasses perched on his nose as he pretends to study the newspaper. My mother fusses with the coffee service, arranging biscotti on grandmother's china with unnecessary precision. "Serafina, you take sugar now, don't you?" Mom asks, though she knows perfectly well I've never taken sugar in my coffee. "Black, Mom." Same as always. The front door crashes open before she can respond. My brother Tobias barrels in with his wife Lauren and their 2 teenagers trailing behind like sullen shadows. The peaceful morning tableau shatters instantly. "Sorry we're late," Tobias announces without slowing his stride. "Traffic was murder coming from the mall." "You went shopping before a family meeting?" I ask, but my question dissolves beneath Mom's enthusiastic greeting. Dad lowers his newspaper, catching Tobias's eye with a slight nod. That look, I know that look. The conspiratorial glance they've perfected over 3 decades, usually deployed right before I discover I'm the only one excluded from some family scheme. We settle into an uncomfortable silence broken only by the teenagers' phones pinging and Mom's nervous stirring of coffee no one's drinking. "So," Tobias says suddenly, leaning forward with his elbows on his knees. "I need to discuss something important about Meridian Consulting." My coffee cup freezes halfway to my lips. Meridian Consulting. My business. The firm I built from nothing, spending 70-hour weeks cold-calling clients while eating ramen for dinner. The company that finally turned profitable after 8 years of struggle. What about it? I ask carefully. Well, Tobias glances at our parents, drawing confidence from their encouraging nods. My tech startup collapsed last month. Investors pulled out. I'm looking at bankruptcy if I don't pivot quickly. I'm sorry to hear that, I say, meaning it. That must be devastating. It is, Lauren interjects, her voice sharp with practiced grievance. We've already had to pull the kids from private school. Do you know how embarrassing that is? I do know, actually. I attended public school my entire life while Tobias went to Westbrook Academy, but pointing that out seems unproductive. The thing is, Tobias continues, you need help running Meridian. It's getting too big for one person. And I need a fresh start. So I'm thinking we merge my expertise with your client base. I'll take over as CEO, handle the strategic direction, while you focus on the operational stuff you're good at. The words land like physical blows. Take over. CEO. The operational stuff. You want my company, I say slowly, testing the words. Our family's company, Dad corrects, setting down his newspaper entirely. You built it with family support, Serafina. Now it's time to support family back. What support? The question escapes before I can stop it. The $50,000 loan I took from the bank? The weekends I spent working while you were all at the Lakehouse? The clients I cultivated myself? We gave you emotional support, Mom says, as if that phrase appears on balance sheets. We believed in you. Believing isn't the same as building, I reply. Tobias's jaw tightens. I have an MBA from Stanford. You have a degree from State. Be realistic about who's qualified to run a major consulting firm. A firm that didn't exist until I created it, I counter. Using my connections, my reputation, my sleepless nights. Family helps family, Dad's voice takes on the edge he reserves for closing arguments. He practiced law for 40 years before retirement, and he wields that courtroom authority like a weapon. We're not asking for charity. Tobias would bring significant value. What value, specifically? I ask. The question hangs unanswered. Tobias shifts in his seat. Lauren studies her manicure. Strategic vision, Tobias finally offers. Scalability frameworks. Investor relations. I don't need investors. The company is debt-free and profitable. Our 5-year growth trajectory is limiting, Tobias interrupts. You're thinking too small. With my leadership, we could triple revenue in 18 months. I think of my carefully cultivated client relationships. The reputation for integrity I've spent a decade building. The employees who trust my vision. And if your leadership fails like your startup did? I ask quietly. The room's temperature drops 10 degrees. Lauren gasps. Mom's coffee cup clatters against its saucer. How dare you, Tobias's voice shakes. I came here in good faith. You came here expecting me to hand over my life's work. I cut him off, something cold and clear settling over me. Without negotiation. Without compensation. Just give it up because you need rescuing from your own poor decisions. Serafina. Mom's voice rises. That's your brother. How can you be so cruel? I stand, gathering my portfolio. I need to leave. Sit down, Dad commands. We're not finished. I am. I walk toward the door, each step feeling both heavy and weightless. Behind me, the chorus of protests rises, accusations of selfishness, reminders of family obligation, threats veiled in concern. You'll regret this, Tobias calls after me. I'll start my own consulting firm. I'll compete directly against you. See how you like watching me succeed while you struggle. I pause at the threshold, turning back. You're welcome to try. Competition is healthy for business. Outside, autumn air fills my lungs. My hands shake as I unlock my car, adrenaline finally catching up with my body. But beneath the physical reaction, my resolve remains diamond hard. I drive to my office, a modest suite in the business district that I lease month to month. My assistant Priya looks up from her desk, concern crossing her face when she sees my expression. Conference call cancelled, she asks. Family meeting ended early, I say. Is everyone here? Conference room. Ready when you are. I enter to find my 6 employees, the team I've carefully assembled over 5 years, seated around the table. These are the people who believed in my vision when we had 3 clients and 2 contracts. Who worked overtime without complaint during the rough years. Who celebrated our first profitable quarter with champagne in paper cups. I need to tell you something, I begin, remaining standing. My family just asked me to step aside as CEO and install my brother in my place. Silence. Then Priya speaks. What did you tell them? No. The tension breaks. Relief floods the room. Thank God, James, my senior consultant, breathes. We heard rumors your brother might be joining the company. Everyone was ready to update their resumes. Why? I ask, genuinely curious. His startup failed spectacularly, Priya explains. He burned through $2 million in investor capital in 8 months. The tech community has been discussing it. He blamed everyone except himself, the market, his employees, his investors. Every red flag imaginable. I sink into my chair. I didn't know the details. Because you've been building something real, James says. While he was chasing unicorn fantasies, you were cultivating actual relationships and delivering actual value. My phone begins vibrating. Dad's number. I silence it. They'll escalate, I predict. My family doesn't accept no easily. What do you need from us? Priya asks. Documentation. Every client contract with my signature. Every successful project I've led. Timeline of the company's growth. My personal investment statements showing I've never taken family money. Building a defense file, James nods approvingly. Smart. That evening, alone in my apartment, I review the documentation my team compiled. The evidence is overwhelming. Meridian Consulting exists entirely because of my work, my relationships, my vision. Not $1 of family money appears anywhere in the financial records. My phone shows 37 missed calls. I listen to one voicemail from Mom. Serafina, please call me back. Your father is very upset. Tobias is devastated. How can you treat family this way? We gave you everything, and this is how you repay us? I delete it without listening to the others. 3 days pass before the next confrontation arrives, a dinner invitation I almost decline before curiosity wins. I arrive at my parents' house Friday evening to find the table set for 6. The extra chair explained when my Aunt Patricia walks in, my father's sister and someone whose opinion I've always valued. Serafina. Aunt Patricia embraces me warmly. Your mother said you've been making quite the name for yourself in consulting. Trying to, I smile, appreciating her genuine interest while noting she's been recruited as reinforcement. We sit. Dad carves the roast. Mom serves wine. Tobias arrives fashionably late, sliding into his chair with barely concealed hostility. So, Dad begins, I've been thinking about compromise. Have you? I take a careful sip of wine. What if Tobias joined as COO instead of CEO? You'd maintain title and final authority, but he'd handle expansion strategy. With what compensation? Equal partnership. 50-50 ownership split. I set down my glass with deliberate care. You want me to give away half my company for the privilege of employing my brother. For the benefit of family unity, Mom corrects. Aunt Patricia leans forward. Serafina, dear, I know business. I built my firm from the ground up too. Sometimes family can provide value you can't see immediately. Did Uncle Raymond demand half your business when his restaurant failed? I ask. Her silence answers eloquently. I reach into my bag and withdraw the folder my team prepared. I'd like to show you something. The first document shows Meridian's client list, 43 companies ranging from local businesses to regional corporations. Next, the revenue charts demonstrating consistent growth year over year. Then, my personal investment records showing $180,000 of my own money seeded into the company. This is the trajectory of a successful business, I explain. Built on reputation, relationships, and reliability. 3 things that can't be transferred through family obligation. I lay down the final document, a printout of the tech industry discussion about Tobias's failed startup. The criticisms are brutal but fair: poor planning, blame shifting, inability to adapt. That's slander, Tobias hisses. Written by jealous competitors. It's market analysis, I counter. From people with no stake in praising or condemning you. Just reporting what happened. Dad's face darkens. You're using gossip to justify abandoning your brother? I'm using information to protect my employees and clients, I reply. 43 companies trust me with their business. 6 employees depend on me for their livelihoods. I can't risk that for family politics. Then we'll make it formal, Tobias says coldly. I'll start Helix Consulting next week. Same services, same market, better leadership. Let's see whose approach wins. You do that, I say calmly. But you should know, I've already secured 3 new contracts this week. The market seems satisfied with my leadership. The dinner dissolves into cold silence broken only by silverware scraping plates. I leave before dessert, Mom's disappointed gaze following me to the door. Priya calls as I'm driving home. We have a situation. What kind? Tobias contacted 3 of our clients today. Told them you're stepping down and he's taking over operations. Offered them transition discounts to his new firm. Ice floods my veins. Did any of them take the offer? No. They all contacted us directly to verify. I told them the truth, you're not going anywhere, and his claims are fraudulent. Send them written confirmation. And Priya? Thank you for handling that. That's not all, she continues. He's filing incorporation papers for Helix Consulting, using a business address 2 blocks from our office. He's serious about competing. I pull into my apartment complex, sitting in the dark car while processing this escalation. Tobias isn't just threatening anymore. He's executing. The next week unfolds like a corporate chess match. Tobias launches his website, professionally designed, filled with ambitious promises and buzzwords like disruptive innovation and synergistic solutions. He courts my clients aggressively, sending gift baskets and invitation letters. But something unexpected happens. Instead of losing business, Meridian Consulting gains it. A regional bank that considered him calls to verify his credentials. When they discover his startup failure and his family connection to me, they sign with Meridian instead. A manufacturing company he approaches contacts me directly, saying his pitch felt desperate and unfocused. Your brother seems to think business is about impressive words, their CFO tells me during our consultation. You're demonstrating it's about results. 3 months into Tobias's venture, I receive an unexpected call from Aunt Patricia. Can we meet for coffee? She asks. Not as family. As one businesswoman to another. We meet at a cafe downtown, neutral territory. Aunt Patricia looks tired, older than I remember. Your brother is struggling, she says without preamble. I'm aware. He's burning through his savings. Lauren is threatening divorce. Your parents mortgaged their house to give him startup capital. The coffee turns bitter on my tongue. They what? $200,000. Second mortgage. They're too proud to admit they can't afford it. I sit back, processing this. They chose to do that without consulting me. They did, Aunt Patricia agrees. But they're still your parents. And they're in financial trouble. What do you want me to do? Hire Tobias. Not as CEO or COO. As a consultant. Give him salary and opportunity to rebuild his reputation. Why would I do that after everything he's tried? Because sometimes being right isn't the same as being kind, she says gently. And because you have the power to choose mercy without surrendering control. I stare into my coffee, watching steam curl and dissipate. What guarantee do I have that he won't try to undermine me? None. But you'd have legal protections now. Employee agreements, non-compete clauses, clearly defined roles. I think about my parents' mortgage. About my mother's face at that awful dinner. About the fact that family wounds, left unhealed, become scars. I'll consider it, I finally say. That evening, I draft a formal employment offer. Junior consultant position. 12-month contract. Market rate salary. Strict performance metrics. No ownership stake. No executive authority. Clear subordination to my leadership. I email it to Tobias with a brief note, this is my final offer. Take it or compete honestly. Either way, I wish you luck. His response arrives 3 hours later. One word, thanks. He starts the following Monday, arriving exactly on time, wearing a suit instead of his usual casual confidence. In our first team meeting, he defers to my expertise. When he proposes ideas, he frames them as suggestions rather than mandates. It's not perfect. We're not suddenly close. But it's functional, professional, respectful. 2 months later, I visit my parents' house for Sunday dinner. The atmosphere has shifted subtly, they're cautious rather than demanding, respectful rather than entitled. Thank you for giving Tobias a chance, Dad says quietly. I didn't do it for him, I reply honestly. I did it because Meridian can afford one more consultant. And because family doesn't mean surrendering who you are. It means finding ways to coexist without losing yourself. Mom touches my hand briefly. Not quite an apology, but acknowledgement. That night, standing on my apartment balcony, I watch the city lights glitter against the darkness. My phone rests silent beside me, no angry calls, no urgent demands, no family crisis requiring my immediate sacrifice. Meridian Consulting continues growing. We've added 2 more employees and expanded into adjacent markets. The business that Tobias wanted to claim has flourished precisely because I refused to surrender it. And Tobias? He's learning. Slowly, reluctantly, but genuinely. Last week, he closed his first client contract independently. The celebration was brief but sincere. Peace doesn't require surrender. Sometimes it demands boundary setting so clear that even the most entitled family members finally understand, respect isn't given automatically. It's earned through mutual recognition that we're all responsible for our own lives. In my quiet apartment, surrounded by evidence of everything I've built, I finally understand what my business truly represented, not just revenue and clients, but proof that I could create value independent of family expectations. That independence wasn't selfish. It was essential. And maintaining it wasn't cruel. It was survival. The morning sun rises over the city, painting everything in shades of gold and possibility. I sip my coffee, checking emails from clients who trust my leadership, employees who respect my vision, and yes, even one from Tobias asking for feedback on his latest proposal. I built this. I protected this. And I chose the terms of reconciliation. That's not revenge. That's self-respect. And it feels like victory.